Welcome to the world of metal. Unleash the fury within and join the metal revolution, where metalheads unite. From the underground to the mainstream. And this is your host, Luke Robinson. And remember, metal isn't just music, it's a way of life. And we celebrate it here at the Metal Blast Podcast.
Hello, Connor from Shadow Smile. How's it going?
Yeah, good. Thank you for talking to me. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. That's a cool backdrop that you got there. I mean, obviously it's your band backdrop, but
yeah, it's just a digital one that you put on. It's quite cool. I sometimes disappear into it if I sit the wrong way, which is quite weird to see.
Yeah, it works pretty well though. Like it's kind of like sharpish. Like you don't really disappear, or the image doesn't really disappear. If you know what I mean. I think it looks pretty cool. How do you do that? Like, is it a software?
It's just on Zoom settings. You just there's a setting to put a digital backdrop on there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It just helps me hide the mess that's behind me. To be honest, that's the main reason for it.
I didn't know you could do that on Zoom. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I'll show you after.
Yeah. So I've been listening to your band for, well, I want to say about 5 or 6 months, something like that. I think it was. I think I first discovered your band when you released the music video, the Hellbound Heart music video.
Yeah. It's about 6 months ago now. Yeah.
About 6 months, right? Yeah. I think it just came up on my Facebook. I think it might have tagged Sheffield Corporation, and I think it just came up in my newsfeed. So I was like, I'm going to check that out. So I listened to it, and I'm like, bloody hell, these guys are pretty good, man. No, like just everything about it, like the production, the songwriting, I was just like hooked into it. And now obviously you've got a full album out now, and you've got some tour dates going for it. So
it's all getting a bit real now. It's a bit weird. It's all
I mean, you got well over 1,000 listeners now on Spotify. I think it's about 1,300.
Yeah, do you know what? It's really annoying because we got up to 4,000 monthly listeners, and then it drops off because it does it to the day.
Yeah.
So because it's been kind of a little bit since we released the last single, it's dropped down, and it's like, but it's still like, yeah, it's been consistently above 1,000, which is cool. It's getting there.
Yeah. To say we're at 4,000, at least it's not drops like, like 400 or something like
that. It's quite a big drop, but
I don't know.
Peak and trough. Got to keep the excitement going. I think that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be that drop with like every band, like we first release an album and that. But no, to keep it well over 1,000, that's pretty good. That is really good stuff. But yeah, I've been definitely. So I've been listening to this album a lot since it's come out, and I just can't wait to hear it live. I think you are planning on playing the full album. Am I right?
Yeah. We were doing start to finish, and then some of our older songs as a kind of encore afterwards. It won't be an encore because we're not going to go off and pretend like waiting for people to clap us back on. But yeah, it's gonna be tough because it's quite challenging to sing a lot of it, if I'm honest. But I'm excited to do it. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I think we weren't sure whether to play the full album at first. We were kind of like, maybe we'll just play a couple from it, and then the stuff that people already kind of know. But then we were like, no, the demand seemed to be there. People were like, oh, are you playing this song? Are you playing this song? And it's like, well, we've had enough requests for each one that it's like, well, we better play it all, to be honest. So
Yeah. I mean,
that's where
if you don't play The Devil Makes Work for Idle Hands, if you don't play that, I want a refund.
oh, man.
No, but no, in all seriousness, like every song is just a banger. So it's
thank you.
I was thinking to myself, like I'm trying to think, is there anything that you could have done to improve it? But honestly, I can't think of anything. I'm like, even if you just listen to the album halfway through, let's just say, like I'm still hooked in. I still want to listen to the next one, sort of thing.
You're too kind, man. You're too kind.
No, but seriously, anybody who hasn't heard this album really just needs to check it out. So, like, the first song is quite, would you say, orchestral? So, like, got a lot of synths and orchestral parts to it.
Cinematic, I say. Like, you know,
yeah.
We tried to. It was influenced by the whole. Actually, so that's the first track leads into the second track. It's kind of an intro to it, and they're both they were inspired by a bit of Hans Zimmer, you know, like doing the Dark Knight soundtrack and all that kind of thing, and then a bit of Danny Elfman, Nightmare Before Christmassy type stuff as well. So it's kind of like just trying to live out our, you know, we've never done a film, so we have to try and live it out somehow. So that's what that's kind of about, really, just trying to make it that grand theatrical sort of, the stuff that I guess a lot of smaller bands are a bit afraid of doing, I suppose, and we're just trying to do something a little bit different and a bit more theatrical with that.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm an orchestral guy. Like, I love all the Hans Zimmer sort of stuff. So when I first just put on the first track, I'm hooked in. Like, I want to listen to more. So it definitely grabbed my attention there. But then you do sort of hear that sort of big cinematic sounds like in other parts of the album as well, because it's not all like that throughout the album, but you do sort of hear those atmospheric sort of things. So we
definitely try and keep it in there. It's kind of it's a bit of a theme through this album. I don't know where we'll go next and whether we'll keep that. It's been a bit of a, I guess you have your paintbrush of palette colors that you use on an album or a piece of music, and that's kind of one of them we wanted to use, was because it's the concept of the 7 deadly sins as well. It felt like it needed that big grand kind of somewhat cheesy but somewhat orchestral, theatrical, cinematic, whatever it is.
Yeah. So did all 4 members kind of chip into that, or was it just one person who kind of just put this whole track together, sort of thing?
It was mostly, so the orchestral stuff, me and our producer Dan, who works out of Treehouse, we put a lot of that together. So I'd come in with like little melodies and stuff, and we'd already written. They kind of become bits from the songs that we then play on a bit more. So the melodies and things are kind of taken from the songs, and then we put them on orchestral tracks and try and, you know, get players into play on stuff. And some of it's MIDI, some of it's actual players. So it just depended on budget at the time as well. So yeah, I mean, it was mostly for that stuff. It was me and our producer Dan who did that.
Right. So what program or orchestral VSTs did you use for that, like sample stuff?
I have no idea. I do the writing of the melody, and Dan handles the production side. I can use Pro Tools and I can use Logic to like a basic kind of, I can record demos on it. But when it comes to anything next level, I'm kind of out. It's out of my league, and I have to start singing at that point. So yeah, I'll be honest, I really don't know what the packs, I guess you call them. I don't know what the packs are on there. I can find out for you, but I really don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, there's so many amazing ones.
Yeah,
but I'd be like,
yeah. quality of some of it, you're just like, wow. And you do get a difference, I think. Like there's bits like for example, some of the horns, I think you could tell if they were MIDI, and the same with the saxophone solo, which is later on, spoilers. But yeah, it was just like that can't work MIDI because it's too, even though it's amazing, you've got to get the breaths in, and it's so we ended up getting like real players on some of it just to kind of make it more real. So
yeah, so that's so cool, man. That's it's good how you can mix in real players as well. You didn't just do it all MIDI. So
I would have liked it all real. I would have loved to have done it all real, but to be honest, it's a budget thing, and it's just I don't know. Yeah, it would have just got crazy really quickly if all our ideas got done. So
yeah, well, to me, it all sounds professional anyway. It doesn't sound like a demo sort of thing. It sounds like the full 10 out of 10 full shebang sort of thing. So you guys work with Jim Pinder?
Yeah, Jim did all the mixes on everything for us. So we did Dan did the production, Jim did a bit of engineering, and he did all the mixing. So Jim's a genius. Like he's another level of genius. But he's like, it's weird because he's like done some of our favorite bands as well. So we came in and like we come in to record drums, and they were still set up from Bullet for My Valentine recording like the week before. So it was like, oh well, we don't need to do a lot to this sound. It's kind of been done, but we did tweak it a lot. But it's great working with those guys because they're just so on it, and they just know if you've got a question, they just know the answer immediately. Like, can we do this? There's never a no, we can't. It's just give me 10 minutes while I patch this into this. And yeah, they're just top level great guys to work with.
So you recorded at his studio in Chesterfield, I think it is.
Yeah, it's Carl's studio, Carl Brown. It's Treehouse. So Carl does like the Bullet stuff. He did some stuff with Bring Me last year, and then there's three producers that work out of there. There's Carl Brown, Jim Pinder, and Dan. It was Dan Jeffrey, but he's just changed his name to Dan Fox because he got married and they took a shared name, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's great because even though Carl is kind of another budgetary step up. Like he does like Busted, and he does like those like really. He did a Pendulum EP recently.
Oh wow!
I think I can say that. I don't know if I'm actually allowed to tell you. Exclusive if not. But because we're in his studio, even though he's not the one specifically doing our record, we've got access to him and his ideas, which is like, you can't buy this stuff. It's like it's weird. It's like because the relationships are there. It really has been just a crazy learning curve from the whole team there. So
yeah, definitely. Cool. So it's worth putting that money into it. So I think some bands kind of I know money can be difficult, but if you can just invest it in the right people to get that top quality product sort of thing, is definitely worth it.
I think so, and I think it depends on your band as well. Like if you're like a punk band, you can get away with doing it yourself. If you're doing a lot of electronic stuff, I think you can get away with doing it yourself a lot. I think there are just certain things where, because I think we tried to opt for a more polished sound, I think it was worth it. But I think like there's bands I listen to that have done it in their bedroom, and I just think it's just as good. It's just that it's different, and I think that can be really cool as well. So I suppose it just depends on what your vision is, or the band's vision is of the music and what they want to do. I think there's any route's the right route if you feel it's the right route for you, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was about 2011 when, I don't know if you've heard a guy called Pliny. He's just like instrumental guitar player.
Yeah, vaguely remember. Yeah,
and he plays like what's called gent. I think it's called gent.
Yeah, gent. Yeah.
And he's kind of like jazz, sort of prog metal sort of thing. And I think he was the first guy when I kind of listened to his EP. Well, I bought a copy of his EP, and he just said recorded in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And you're just like, really? Like, this was like 12 years ago.
Mm.
But it, set it up. Yeah, technology is just getting so good now in advance that you can just record in your bedroom and come out with a 10 out of 10 top quality album sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, soon you'll be able to just have AI do it for you. That'll be the next one. It's like, oh, this album was made entirely by AI. Like that'll be a fun time for all of us, I think, when that happens.
Yeah, won't be as good live though. You want to see the real.
I'm terrified. I mean, I use ChatGPT as a personal assistant at the minute. I sort of just have it on, and if I need something doing quickly, like just reword me this, or I use it all the time. But I just think, God, this is way smarter than me, and like it's quite worrying sometimes. But yeah, I think you do need that human connection with music. That's why we listen to the music we listen to. I think that human element that a computer can only do what it's learned from what's been put into it, kind of, I suppose. So
yeah, AI is getting like it's amazing. But I've been doing some like artwork on AI lately, and I'm telling it what I want it to do, and it's amazing. But I'm still going to hire my old graphic designer who did the last album for my new album. I'm still going to hire him because he can just do exactly what I want. Whereas AI just kind of spits out like 60-70% of what I want it to do.
Kind of gets it, doesn't it?
But... Yeah. I mean, a good thing, what I've been doing with it is I've been uploading my album artwork from my last album, putting that into AI and go, make me 10 versions of that. So I end up with 10 different versions of my album. It's not as good as my original album cover, but it's something else to post and put your music into, and if it helps tell the story that you're trying to tell, then it's a really good tool to use.
That's exactly it. It's like it's a tool, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's like people think it's going to take their job. It'll only take your job if you let it. It's like if you can use it and harness it to improve yourself, then you're winning. And I think with the art thing, like we've used pretty much the same couple of artists the whole of Shadow Smile, and the one thing we have done with AI is we did the cover art for the single of Suck the World Dry.
Yeah,
but it was because we wanted something that wasn't quite right, and it felt a bit otherworldly, and we were like, well, AI kind of has that, so we were like, well, let's just try something there, and we did use that, but we still used, an artist for the album cover and for everything else. It was just it's a creative choice at this point, I think, to if you want to do that and you can retain some integrity doing it still, I think. But yeah, I think if you get an artist on your side that understands your music and understands what you want to do, that's super valuable. Like, because you almost get to the point where you don't have to tell them what you want because they just get it by listening to what you do. Yeah, I don't think AI is going to be replacing that anytime soon.
No, definitely. I'm really liking the artwork that you got at the moment. The corporation gig that you're advertising. It's got like the big bat on top.
Yeah.
Is that yours, or was that just something cool?
I did that. Yeah, that was literally a picture I found of corporation, because I don't know if people know this, but I used to work at corporation putting bands on. The office, so I've just got tons of pictures of it. So when it came time to do it, I was like, wouldn't it be good if a giant bat was invading? So I bought I didn't draw the bat, I bought the bat from an artist, and I think it cost me about £4 or something like that, and I just put it around on Photoshop and just messed around with it. So it was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, like 1930s movie poster vibe, but I thought it was quite funny. Like it was, but I think, yeah, you could that's the thing now. You can just get a bit of software, play around, be creative with it, and you've got some content.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what the art that you've got, I could really see, obviously on a t-shirt, but you could have like on like coffee mugs or like a sweatband sort of thing.
Yeah,
I think there's loads like print on demand online shops that you could quite easily just put like your logos and stuff like that on there. I don't know if you guys do that already. Or...
Well, we do a bit of a mix of, because we do use print on demand for things that we can't stock. So like we've got beanie hats, snapbacks, and stuff, and we'd use them through Incredible, who are one of the print on demand places, but they're embroidered. But the things that, like, that only sell once every now and again, we do that because it's nice to have the option on the site. But yeah, we've tried to make it as we tried to be like a fashion line with the merch and sort of release a collection in spring, summer, autumn, winter, essentially. And that's working out really well for us at the moment. But yeah, I mean, obviously the albums help that as well, because we got a collection just around the album. So that's two birds with one stone, really. But yeah, I mean, I love merch. I love buying merch from other bands. I love making it. I love the whole thing around it. That's after the music. That's the thing I like most about what we do is the merch side of things. So
yeah, definitely. I mean,
and mugs are a good idea. I might nick that.
yeah. There's loads of sites now. Well, two in particular I can think of. I think it's Printify. I think it is. I might have said that wrong. Printify. I forgot what the other one is. Oh, Printful. They do coffee mugs and that sort of stuff. You can have like normal coffee mugs, and you can have like the big 15-ounce ones.
Oh no, the Sports Direct one.
The what? Sorry.
The Sports Direct ones. Have you seen those? Sort of just like huge.
I'm not sure.
It will be, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, there's loads of print on demand stuff now.
Again, it's all good because it means that, like, artists, up and coming artists, they can do it all without the labels. It really is like you are in control of your own destiny more than ever, I think, at the moment. Even though no one's actually buying physical music, it's like the other things are better than they've ever been, probably.
So what's your opinion on physical music? Like, is it a waste of time? Is it worth doing? Like, what would you think?
Like, to some extent, I think, like, I thought when we did our album, I was like, I don't know if we need CDs but we did a pre-order on them before we actually got them in, and we sold enough to warrant ordering some in. So I think people buy it, but I think they buy it as merch or as a collectible more than anything else. So I don't think like there's a massive future in CDs for playing CDs, but I think people will still buy it if they're hardcore fans. And I think, vinyl's, again, another good collectible. We've not done vinyl yet, but it's on the tick list. I want to do a vinyl. Problem is, you've got to order it in such quantities to make it worthwhile, because it's if you try and order 100 or 500, it's crazy expensive. But if you order in 10,000, it's not so bad. But yeah, I think it's definitely. I mean, I see it as all kind of. It's all just different streams, and it's like, okay, you've got your physical, you've got your streaming, because you can't get away from streaming at this point. I think I know people that insist on they won't join Spotify. There's still, you've got to get it directly from me, and I respect that, and I think that's a cool stance to take. But for me, I think it's just you fighting an uphill battle if you don't want to be on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. I think there's no world where that doesn't exist now, because people don't see the value of music anymore. It's not a physical to buy for a lot of people, especially younger people. So yeah, I don't know. That's not a very good answer to the question, I know, but I guess my answer is I don't know.
Well, like you said, you did a pre-order, and before you actually ordered them, and it was enough for you to go, actually, yeah, we really do need to invest in the CDs.
Yeah.
In my experience, because in my mind, I was like, yeah, no, nobody buys CDs anymore. Although I did, I do, but no one really seemed to like bother with my music, buying it digitally or whatever. But then I started getting messages of people saying, "Oh, can we buy a CD?" And then you just kept building up. So I eventually did do that. And then started selling more music than ever. I thought, oh. Yeah. So I just feel like you've got to make it available to absolutely everybody.
Yeah, that's it. It is. It's just, yeah, you've got to make it as easy as you can for people that want it. Because, and again, if you buy it, that means probably somebody else will buy it. So I guess that's it, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, vinyl. I think they are more expensive, and you really do have to have demand for that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it was 2019 or 18 for the first time ever, vinyl outsold CDs, which is kind of crazy because you're like, I know, like, I didn't grow up listening to vinyl. I didn't even know what it was when I was a kid. So,
exactly.
Yeah, if you're going to HMV now, like at Meadow Hall, it's just vinyls and pop vinyls.
Yeah, no CDs anywhere.
Yeah.
I think you're right, man. I think it's definitely I think it's a bit of a culture thing, the vinyl thing. It's like it's a bit of a status thing as a fan. It's like, oh yeah, but I've got it on vinyl. You know, it's that kind of, oh yeah, I've got the limited edition one. You know, I think it's kind of some of that about it, which I think it's cool. I mean, I like listening to vinyl, but I very rarely get around to it. I buy it and then I just rarely get around to actually listening to it because it's a faff. You've got to get it out. You've got to put it on. Whereas, you know, put Spotify on, it's done, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely. Can you see that? Can you see that message?
Yeah, that 9:47.
Yeah, that's got quick. If it cuts off, we'll just start again.
Yes. I think actually, if you leave it early and come back in, it resets right from there.
Right.
But so if you wanted to leave like 5 or something, I don't know. Well, I bet it's your call, man. It's your.
Yeah. We'll see what it does. So I'm guessing you're gonna be having backing tracks for like the orchestral stuff when playing live.
Yeah.
So
that's gonna get some hate, isn't it?
So have you guys got experience like playing with backing tracks live in the past?
Yeah, because we've had ever since our first single, we've had different like symphonic elements, electronic elements, different things on track, and we've never had a synth player, so we've always done it since day one. To be honest, it's been yeah, we don't know any other way. Well, we do because in other bands, but you know, it's definitely it's such a big part of our sound that I think if we didn't do it, it would be really lacking on a live setting. So yeah, I mean, we don't have like, you know, like you see some bands and they've got the lead vocal on track, so that's we're not that bad. But then with kick drum, I've seen that a few times where they've got the kick drum on track, you know, and the fast double kicks. But no, we just sound sloppy if we mess it up. So
right. Well, because I went to Warhorns Festival last weekend, and I noticed one of the bands didn't have a bassist. So I don't know if like that was a part of, maybe the bass player just couldn't make it, and it was just a part of their backing.
Yeah, maybe.
But
it's a good idea to have everyone on backing track just in case they're ill. And I know that became a thing. You know, when gigs were getting cancelled because of COVID, left, right, and centre. It was like, I know a few bands had like backing tracks of every individual member so that they could not have to cancel. Obviously, if the singer's ill, but like, yeah, they'd have like the drums on track just in case. And they wouldn't use them, but just on the off chance. Yeah, I think that's probably quite smart in a way. But
yeah, so when you play live, is it just the drummer that has like an earpiece that can hear like a click track, or do you all kind of have? Do you all have an earpiece?
We all have in-ear monitors, but we don't all have click. So I have click because there's a few bits where it's just me, and like on the new album, especially like The World Is In My Way. For a bit, it's just me and the synth. So I have click for things like that. Yeah, the drummer has click, but weirdly, the drummer doesn't have any of us in his monitors. He just has the click and the track, and that's it, which is mind-boggling to me, but that's how he likes it. So yeah, it's an interesting setup, but I think more bands are going like that now. I think a lot of bands have come up always having had in-ear monitors, and I haven't always had it. I used to not have it, but I tell you what, it saves my voice a lot. Like, you can really get a much clearer mix, and it's like being in the studio, but you're live. The one thing you lack is I have to take them out to talk to the crowd because you miss that interaction because they're so deadened.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's like being in a studio. You can just like get into the music more, sort of thing. Because I can imagine sometimes all you could hear is just the drums. You know, you might not be able to hear the guitarist. So yeah, it's a good.
I can't pitch to a cymbal.
Yeah, just getting deafened by all cymbals and that.
Nightmare.
So yeah, that's good, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you play the whole album live, and just I don't know what to expect really. I don't know what to expect. So obviously, I've only been listening to it about 6 months, but I've not seen you live before.
Yeah, I hope you like it. It's quite theatrical. It's got a bit of a show behind it. You know, it's not just standing there playing. You know, we're building a set actually. It's going to be interesting. It's leaning on the vampire theme that we've had going for the album. Yeah. So I'll tell you actually, because it's going to be all the backdrop's going to be all made out of blood bags. You know, like from you know, like what's it called? IV drip kind of blood bags.
Wow.
So it's going to be like a wall of them. But I say that, and then it might not work now. So we'll see. That's the plan, and we're building that at the moment. So yeah, and then we've got some really cool support bands as well. So they're all really really great people.
Yeah, I've been listening to Saints Among Us lately. Yeah. Like I've seen their band name on a few posters here and there, so I've been checking them out as well. But yeah, it should be a great night. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, what time are you guys on?
I think we're on about 9. So it goes at 7, and then support bands, and then we'll be hitting the stage around 9, I think. Although these things tend to run a bit late, don't they? Like every gig I've ever been to or played has been running behind by at least 20 minutes. So, but if you're at 9, you'll be all right.
Yeah. We'll come a bit earlier than that. We'll see some of the support bands, or maybe all of them. It's not very often I get to go out that much these days, so I'm like, I'm ready for a gig. So
yeah, man, we'll make it a good night for you. I'll try and guarantee it for you.
Amazing. So yeah, I'm glad you described the first song as cinematic, because when I first listened to the album, I just had this image of like a Marvel film or like the ending credits sort of thing, and one of your songs just comes on, that sort of thing. Like the Spider-Man films, they have like rock bands, like the Chad Kroeger Nickelback sort of thing.
I love that song. I've just got my wife into that song. Like she'd never heard it because, well, she's a bit younger than me, so she doesn't really remember it. And then I was like, yeah, you got to listen to this. It's like the best ballad of the 2000s.
Yeah, so, the hero song.
Yeah, Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott. Yeah.
That's song. Yeah, we used to come on Kerrang all the time, like before school.
Yeah, like every 2 songs. It'd be that, and then Evanescence Bring Me to Life, like every day.
Yeah, definitely. I love it when Co-op. I'm not been to Co-op that much lately, but they always used to have like Kerrang classic sort of night. And you were just like song after song, like Blink-182, and then you'd be like System of a Down, Slipknot, that sort of thing.
Yeah, nice. Golden era.
Yeah, definitely. So who's your, like, would you say, top 3 bands that got you into like rock metal sort of thing?
I'm a bit weird one, because I think mine would be Queen, Guns N' Roses, and like probably Avenged Sevenfold. But obviously the first 2 aren't that metal, but I think that sort of lends itself to us, to our sound, that we're not that metal. Like we're quite metal, but we're not that metal. So I think the other guys, it'd be like the really obvious, like Bullet for My Valentine, Bring Me, that kind of thing. But for me, it's like I'm a little bit more on the, I guess, old school side of things a little bit.
Have you got your own like side projects, like a Freddie Mercury tribute?
Well, it's more of a job, really. I've done that for years. Yeah, I've done.
Wow.
We do theatre. Yeah, that's yeah. That was my from being yeah for about 4 years. It was my full-time job, and I sort of stopped doing it to start a band, an originals band, and then I just ended up doing it again because the demand was so high, and there were like theatres ringing us up saying we need you to come back. So yeah, I can't seem to retire from it, but. Yeah,
Wow.
that's not many shadow smart people know that really, I don't think. But yeah, it's a fun job.
Yeah, it was only the other day I came across it.
Yeah,
Might have been a couple of days ago. So I just had
yeah,
to
Magic
ask.
Queen. Um, so I do. I've just started actually weirdly doing some solo ones, but only because a friend who's got a venue asked me to do it, and he didn't have the budget for the full band. So I was like, well, yeah, but it's not the same band as Shadow Smile. It's a totally different group of people. It's all based in London, the Queen stuff. Um, so yeah, I have to go down to London every time we've got a show, which yeah,
Wow.
but yeah, no, it's good.
What's it like traveling to London? Like quite regular or used to?
I live in my car pretty much. Like, yeah, I've always driven a lot, and I mean, I'm trying to. I got my car in 2019, and it had. I got it like second hand. It was 2 or 3 years old, and it had 20,000 miles on it. It's now got 158,000 on it because I drive that much. And you got to factor in
Wow.
there's 2 years of lockdown in there as well, where I didn't drive at all. So
That is
yeah,
crazy.
I up and down every week is because I'm down there for meetings as well and other stuff. So it's yeah, I'm pretty much between. Um, that's why I don't sound like I'm from Sheffield that much anymore because I'm always like everywhere else. It's weird,
That's
but
crazy.
yeah, yeah, and it's only getting worse now that Shadow Smile are doing shows elsewhere, so we're going like everywhere with that now a bit as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So how many shows have you got booked or planning?
Well, we've got quite a lot that are booked but not announced yet. So we've got some for next year that is going to be the official tour for the album. That's next year. But we've got this year we've still got we've got the Corpse show, and then we've got the Rockmantic shows, which are like sort of festivals that we're going to do with I think South of Salem a headline in those. Which they'll be a lot of fun. We did Call of the Wild Festival earlier this year with them as well, so their crowd likes us quite a lot, so it works pretty well.
That's good.
So then full tour next year. So yeah, it's never going to end at this point. It's all weird, like the stuff that we can't announce yet because well, you're just not allowed, and then there's other stuff where it's just it's kind of one of those things where everything's been in the works for ages, and it just feels like now it's all just woof, and yeah, can't seem to catch any breath.
Wow. Well, going back to the Queen,
Hmm.
did you start that project, or was this band looking for a Freddie Mercury, um, and they just came across you, or how did
They,
that?
they, I was in a different Queen tribute band a few years back when I was still at uni, and their guitarist depped for us. So I knew the guitarist anyway, and he got in touch with me saying, "Oh, our Freddie has left. Can you fill in for a few shows?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll fill in." And then it just became like, "Oh yeah, can you do this more shows and more shows?" And then I never ended up leaving. So it's yes, they were a fully fledged band. They've been going for probably about 6 years now. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's hard work as well. So
Wow. I'll have to
I have to do
I'll,
all them.
I'll have to come and see you. I'll have to come and see the
Yeah,
shows.
see what we do every year. We tend to do Doncaster Racecourse, and it's a massive stage with a big crowd. But I'd like to let you know when we're doing it, and I'll drop you a guest list for it because that's the local. That's probably the most local we get. Really, I mean, it's mostly like I say, mostly London or south of London or Scotland. It's weird. We never seem to get anything round here because there are other bands and it's a little bit territorial where people have their like areas that they do. So like, there's a band called Mercury. They've been going for ages and they do all of Yorkshire and Nottinghamshire and stuff. So we don't really get a look in. We did
Right.
Nottingham. Nottingham theatre this year, but that's all we've done in the sort of local area. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's like ice cream bands, you know, they fight for territory. It's a bit like that.
Yeah. So what is the tribute band called?
Magic Queen.
Magic Queen, right? Yeah, yeah. I'll look out for it, and you'll have to let me know when you're more local.
I will do. Yeah. If you're a Queen fan, I mean, I'm a Queen fan, but yeah, it's weird because it works with doing Shadow Smile, but it's people are often like really surprised, like, oh, that's so weird. You know, you go from like doing the Freddie vocals and prancing about like that to doing the more hardcore stuff, and it keeps me on my toes.
Well, speaking of vocals, I mean, I can't wait to actually see you live and perform it. So I'm just going to ask you now: do you obviously do the main lead vocals, but do you do the more screamy stuff, or is that like another band member?
No, that's me as well. On the record, everything's me except a few backing clean vocals that are different members of the band. But yeah, I do all that. I actually, weirdly, our guitarist Adam, there's a couple of bits, like there's a song called "Take What You Can, Give Nothing Back," where there's a call and response between singing and screaming. And I was like, I don't know how the hell we're going to do this live because nobody else could scream. And then Adam just came one day and was like, oh yeah, I've learned how to do it. And then he just did it. And I was like, wow, that took me ages that you've learned. So he's actually doing it on that bit, and he's doing it on "The Devil Makes Work for Idle Hands" as well. There's a bit of a call and response in the verse, which he's going to do. But aside from that, I do pretty much all of the screamy stuff. Yeah. I don't like it that much, actually, weirdly. I don't like doing it as much as I like singing, but it works really well with the sound. And I think, you know, so I might try and palm more of it off on him as we go forward.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was like, is that a different band member or like? No, but that's cool. No, that's amazing that you can switch back and forth on that. But could you? I think you call it vocal fry, where you actually like sing a melody but add that sort of distortion to it.
Yes. Yeah, like that.
Can you just like? You don't have to do it now. I'm just saying. Can you just
quite loud?
Can you just slightly apply more and more of that grittiness to it, or is it either all or nothing?
No, I'm quite quiet with my screams as well, to be honest. I use mostly vocal fry technique, and it is just singing a note with the distortion on there for me. That's different people do it different ways, but that for me that works well. Like if you listen, there's a track on the album. I'm plugging away here for the album. The track called "Amorality," and if you listen to the chorus, it is actually it's screamed but in a melody because it's there is a singing line over it, but the actual screaming is in the melody as well.
Definitely.
Took me a bit of time to learn how to do that, but yeah, I like doing that. That's quite fun. It reminds me of like I don't know, a lot of the more like Machine Head used to do it a little bit, and you hear that kind of it's halfway between singing and screaming, and yeah, I guess I'd say I struggle with the more hardcore type screaming, you know, the really like loud, high pitched sort of, you know, the early Ollie Sykes kind of stuff. I can't really do that, but the more fry based stuff I'm all right with.
Yeah, my favorite sort of stuff. Our morality, like the way you sing it is you spread the words quite. You don't just say it. You sing it with a bit of a melody to it, don't you? And it's with adding the bit of fry to it, and I think that's really. I mean, I'm no singer, but it must be very difficult to like sing that quite high up and add that sort of fry to it. I mean, I don't know.
It's all just taking it in your stride, though. I think, like it's like I say, like, you know, I can't play guitar anywhere near as well as, you know, our guitarist. But if I'd spent as long as he has learning, I probably could. And I think it's just that. It's just that's what I've chosen to learn, and that's where I focus my energy. But I think anyone who learns can do any of it, really. I think it's as long as they're not tone deaf, and that can be a problem. But I think all the techniques. I mean, the hardest thing for me like on the album is more of the like, you know, like a song like The World Is In My Way, where I've got the belting high chorus, which is just like pure clean singing, but it's belted. Like it's got more in common with like Whitney Houston than it has with like metal, to be fair, but it is still in a metal song. But that's the hardest stuff for me. But the screaming stuff, I think the hard thing of it is balancing it and sort of not, because I find the fry is a really delicate area to get right. So you've got to get it bang on, or you can do yourself an injury. And it's just making sure you're on that knife edge all the time. So yeah, but I think it's all technique, and it's just practice. Really, that's all it is.
Yeah, a lot of practice, or well,
yeah. I mean, I do scales every day, and it's some people are gifted and can just go on stage and blast it out, and I really do have to have a bit of a routine vocally, because I just can't do it without a warm up and stuff. But other people can, and more power to them. I've heard people just like, yeah, chug a whiskey, jump on stage, I'm good, but I'm not lucky enough to do that.
And some cigars. Don't forget cigars.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I was at the beach the other day, and I was like, it was sunny, and I had a cigar and just the waves crashing in, and I was like, this is paradise.
Yeah, definitely, man. So what's your, do you have much knowledge in like music theory? Because like, I could be wrong here, but you know, like songs like Signed in Blood, I'm gonna pick that one, where I feel like you use the mode, like the Phrygian mode, when you're singing. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. That'll laugh, because we had one of our, I'm gonna say fan, come up to us and go, is that in Phrygian? And I was like, yeah, what a random question, but like it was nice to have somebody like recognize that we've actually put some thought into it, you know. Yeah, I mean a lot of that as well. I like to use a lot of like harmonic minor bits and bobs. So yeah, we are, I mean, we're not Mozart, but we know our way around theory to some extent. And yeah, we try, and I'm always trying to learn it, you know, more and more, because I think you can always be better with that stuff. You know, you can get, I'd really like to be able to be, I mean, I don't know if you've listened to the new Avenged Sevenfold album, but they like breaking all the rules on that, but it's because they know them so well. And you're just like, I'd love to try that, but I'm not there yet. And I couldn't, I could do it, but it would just sound like I was doing it wrong. So, you know, you've got to know the rules inside out and backwards before you can break them tastefully, I think. So, but yeah, we know, and especially like Adam, our guitar player, is very, very good. Our drummer Joe, really, really good with theory. I'm quite good. I'm probably not quite as good as they are, but I'm okay. Our bass player, I'm not sure he knows what music theory is, but you know, he's all right. Really, he knows what he's.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do like theory. I think it's fun to learn.
Yeah, I mean, Adam must know quite a bit about theory, because he's very good at the lead guitar stuff as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's great because he's more into that as well. So he's like really likes the sort of, you know, the different bits. So it's not just a pentatonic every solo.
Yes,
he knows the way around stuff. But then I'm more interested in how chords fit together and how you can make progressions interesting and stuff. So I think we complement each other really well there, because he's more about exploring the melody and I'm more about exploring the chord pattern. So I think that works really nicely.
Yeah. So music theory is definitely important then, because I hear people say, "Oh, it's not important. You don't need it."
I think it goes back to what we were saying about production. I think it depends what you're doing as well. Like I think it's more important if you're doing metal, then yeah, like you can't do metal without knowing at least some of it. Like, you know, you listen to like metal's the one place where I think if you're in an indie band, you can get by just writing good songs without much theory. And if you're a pop artist, you can get by just writing good songs. Metal, there's an expectation where you need both. You need to be a good player. You need to be writing good songs. It's like metal fans are spoiled, really. That's what we are. We want everything. So, and I don't think many other genres suffer with that. But I think it's rewarding as well. Like to know why what you're doing works. Like it's not like you're just chancing it and you've gone, stumbled across this great song. It's like, no, we knew what we were doing, and there's a reward to that, I think.
But
But maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Well, it's good. It's good that you actually put the music theory into it, and because I feel like you could just be way more creative with it if you know it. That's the first thing. Yeah, when I listen to "Sign in Blood," I like, is that French? Like, that's such a cool vocal melody line sort of thing. I don't know if Ozzy Osbourne is an influence of yours.
People have said that about the song. Yeah.
Say that again.
As I say, a few people have said about that song, and the vocal delivery in the verse and stuff like that is quite Ozzy.
Wow. Right. Well, that's all right then, because I was thinking it just came to my head recently. I thought it sounds a bit like new Ozzy Osbourne sort of stuff, not the old stuff. But I suppose the production sort of plays a part in that as well, because Ozzy's productions, well, it's a lot more modern. Yeah, I feel like there's that sort of Ozzy connection there with it, with the new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I don't think it was intentional, but I can definitely hear it when I listen back. I'm like, oh yeah, that is very. And I think partly, I mean, "Signed in Blood," for example, I was thinking of "Nightmare Before Christmas" with the da, 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 da thing, the "This Is Halloween" melody. That was kind of and we've kind of literally, that melody is in there, but then it's in a different mode, and it kind of it works differently. So, but that melody was definitely on my mind with it, and we just wanted to have that kind of stomp to it, the kind of, so it kind of carries its way across. But yeah, I think that's a very old school metal way of thinking. So I think that's partly why as well. And it was kind of inspired a bit by Ghost, but then I sing a lot higher than Tobias from Ghost. So it kind of, again, I think that feeds into the Ozzy element of it, because if you take Tobias from Ghost and make it higher, it's probably quite Ozzy. So yeah.
Yeah,
I suppose all adds up.
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah, yeah, definitely. So you're a big Ghost fan, or?
Oh yeah, big time. Like, and I'll defend them till the day I die. I love Ghost.
A Ghost a metal band or a pop band?
Who cares? I don't know. I mean, there's some. I mean, if you listen to Ghost and then you listen to like early metal, Ghost are way heavier than a lot of early metal, but then metal's a different beast these days, isn't it? I mean, if Iron Maiden came out now, you'd be like, that's not metal, but it's Iron Maiden, so of course it's metal. So, but yeah, I don't know. I would say Ghost are more of a rock band, aren't they? Poppy rock, but again, Ghost for me, it's all about those amazing chord changes and the songwriting. I'm not worried about the genre that much. I just think it's just super interesting music, and it's probably got more in common with ABBA than it has, a lot of metal. But I like it, and I'm a Queen fan as well, so I like all that kind of theatrical harmonies and stuff like that too. So it works for me.
Definitely. Have you seen Ghost live?
Yeah, I've seen them a couple of times. So I'm on their last arena tour, and I saw them at Download this year. And yeah, I love their show. I think it's more like Phantom of the Opera than it is a rock show, but I love it. I think it's great.
Which arena show did you watch them at?
We did Wembley it was the maybe it wasn't the last one actually. I don't know if they've done one on the current album. It was on the Prickell tour when they had what are they called?
Kind of gothic band.
It was they had All Them Witches opening. And I think the main support were, I want to say Behemoth, but it wasn't. That was with Slipknot. But yeah, it was like that sort of band, like sort of black metal-y kind of main support, but I can't for the life of me think who it was.
Yeah,
I think it was when he was yeah, sorry, go on.
No, I think that was the tour before this last one.
Yeah, possibly. I feel like they did a tour last year, and I was in America for it. I think I seem to remember that because I went to Dallas for WrestleMania last year, so I was like, I think I missed that tour. I think that's when it was. So it was 2019. I saw the arena tour, I think, for Ghost.
Yeah, I went to the one at Leeds, which was weird because about 5 years before, I saw him at Leeds Student Union. I think there was about 200 people there.
Oh, wow.
And then 5 years later, arena. Like, wow.
Yeah, they had a fast rise. I mean, it's weird because they've been around for ages, but all of a sudden they were just the biggest band in the genre, I guess. But Yeah, so strange, but yeah, they went viral on TikTok as well, didn't they? So that helped.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah, probably. Did you go to the Slipknot Behemoth in Sheffield?
Yes, yeah, he went to that. Yeah, that was so. I used to work at Corp, I think I told you earlier, and I used to get guest lists for all the arena shows because we put posters up in Corp and say, oh, can we have a couple of guest lists if we promote to our fans? It's like our fans, like from Corp, will go in anyway, but they were always kind enough to give us a couple of guesties, so we'd just nip in and yeah, that was a really good show. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
But I'd never seen Slipknot before that actually, so it was my baptism.
yeah. Well, I saw Slipknot that show and the tour before, but with Korn. So it was Korn and Slipknot. I like brilliant.
Yeah, I would
But
have loved that. I would have loved that.
yeah, I've
That's
never
my
been.
wife's two favorite bands. So she went to that tour. I think she went to Birmingham to see that tour when it was Korn and Slipknot.
Yeah,
I'm jealous because I think I was gigging with Queen bands when that was on. So I think I missed the whole tour because I was on tour with the Queen band. So
yeah. I mean, I've never been massive on Slipknot. I'll say I've not been massive, but they were so good. They were so good live. I just loved the
yeah,
entire show. Um, so what's been the most memorable concert experience you've had, or the weirdest thing you've ever seen at a concert,
wow.
or a
I
show
don't
that
know.
just really really stuck out and you'll just never forget that show?
I tell you what, I went to see. I'm showing my age here, but I went to see Lamb of God at Corporation when they played last time. So if anyone can do the maths on when that was, I don't know. I don't actually know the year, but it was on the Rap tour. So, and that was, I just remember in court, it was clearly like it was before health and safety had made it a smaller capacity because now it's a smaller capacity than it used to be. I think it used to be like 1,500, and now it's like 1,000. So imagine a full court, which is with an extra 500 people in it. It was mental. And the sweat was literally dripping off the ceiling, but not just a bit. Sometimes you get condensation. It was like
Yeah,
it was raining. It was like bizarre. It was like a microclimate had developed inside the venue. So yeah, that was a crazy one. And that was back in the days when I would go in mosh pits. I don't really do it anymore. But back then I used to go in mosh pits a lot. And yeah, there was some, the massive dudes that are like 30 stone with the tops off, just like running at you, and you're just like, I gotta move out of the way or I'm gonna die. So you just dive out of the way. But yeah, that's probably the wildest gig I've been to, I think.
yeah. That's crazy, man. I'm gonna look that up later when that gig was.
Yeah, that's still my age.
What's the what's like biggest challenge you would say is as being a band member?
I think like keeping it together is hard. You have fallouts all the time, and you because it's a shared vision, and sometimes you feel like you're on the right path and they're not quite understanding, or you might fall out over a part of a song that somebody else feels should be different. So I think the overarching thing is trying to keep it together is quite hard sometimes because it'd be easy just to go, oh well, forget it, then I'll go and you can have your way, or you're going because I want my way. That sort of compromise and democracy within a band can get quite challenging, especially because we've got like four kind of alpha male characters in the band anyway, who all kind of want, not in a kind of way, but in a kind of, I've got a vision and we'll fight for it. So
Yeah,
we've got four personalities that will all fight for their viewpoint. So it can get long debates and big arguments sometimes, but we always seem to find common ground in the end. But yeah, that's the biggest challenge, definitely.
yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, I can understand that, but like from what I've seen up to now at this point, like you guys seem like you're always having fun and you just loving what you're doing.
Yeah,
So,
and it all comes from a good place. It all comes from we all want the best for it, and we all really want to take it as far as it can go. So you just kind of end up, yeah, we have a really good time together because despite the arguments, yeah, we are all good friends, and yeah, it does work. Works really well, especially like on in the studio. We have like when we're making the album, I don't think we ever laughed so much. Just at the like, you just find some ridiculous stuff, like the voiceovers in between songs and stuff. Like I did them, like in a weird Gandalf voice that I put on, and I'm just like, everybody's just laughing their heads off, just like taking a piss out of me. And but it's like, well, it works, so and you've got to make yourselves laugh, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, oh, yeah, it definitely works. I think about 2 or 3 times you do that voice, like sort of
Yeah,
spoken word. So,
it was meant to sound like. Have you seen Hellraiser?
uh,
Film Hellraiser.
many years ago. Yeah,
So the main villain, like, is Pinhead, you know, the guy with all the pins, and
yeah,
he's played by Doug Bradley, and I know I've always loved his voice. And Cradle of Filth often get him to come and do spoken word on their songs, and
yeah,
we were like, I want to get him in, but it was just like, there's no way we can afford because he lives in America now. He's like, oh, no way we can fly him in. Like, forget it. I'll just have to do it. So maybe on the
yeah.
next album, I might be able to afford to get him in and do it properly.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, you do a pretty good job, real good job actually.
Cheers, man. It's kind of tongue in cheek as well. Like it's not taking itself too seriously either. It's just like, here's this voice of Satan. So what's he going to sound like? He's going to sound like that. So
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, I think we've got 10 minutes left. Just just for a few more things I want to ask you. So, what was it like doing a music video at Co-op and well, getting it all put together and
getting it all over you. That's what it's like. So
that?
we had dance. Actually, it was, you know, Corp have been really kind to us. Like we've actually done 4 videos at Corp. So pretty
Wow.
much all of our music videos except one have been filmed at Corp because it acts as a big black studio, so you can make it whatever you want for a music video. So and you know, Mark, who runs the place, has never ever charged me to use it either. So it's like it's been a godsend to us. But the last video was definitely the most fun we've had making a video. I mean, we had I I've got friends that run a dance academy, and Claire, she choreographed the whole dance routine, and you know, the girls came and did that for us, and
Wow.
so we had to use it on the Sunday, but the cleaners had just been through, so and cleaned all the floor and everything. But because they'd just cleaned it, the floor was still wet through, and it's concrete, and it's got years of absorbed corp going through the floor. So
Yeah.
it felt really awful for the girls because they had to start on the floor and then build into the dance. So that was, but they did it. They were super professional and did it. But and then we used a guy called Chris Ogden to do the video, and he's amazing. Like he gets on board with the idea, and we talk to him through the process. And yeah, he really makes the most out of it. And you can't always really tell where the video is, like especially with the other ones. I think that one you can tell more that it's Corp because it is just shot in Corp. But the others where it's like a black space, he really made it seem like it was somewhere else a lot of the time. So, but yeah, making videos is a lot of fun, but it's a long day. It's always a really long day.
Yeah. Was it filmed upstairs in Co-op?
Filmed all over. The dance section is in the main room, but there's like a big backdrop, so you can't see the stage. So
Right.
it's in front of the stage there. And then the scenes where like I'm having a tarot reading, that's upstairs in the white room. Yeah, I think most of the cut scenes are upstairs. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing, man. So what? I mean, I've only seen the Hellbound video. Which other songs did you release?
So
As in,
Signed in Blood.
right.
Signed in Blood's got a video, but that was filmed at an abandoned place in Huddersfield, which it was a nightmare because it's an abandoned factory, but it had the right look. We wanted. Have you seen a film called The Lost Boys?
I don't think so.
It's a vampire film from the 80s, and we really liked it. So like, we want to sort of make it look like the vampire's lair. So our guitarist Adam found this place that looked perfect, but we had to walk a mile through woodland to get there with all the gear. So we had to take the whole kit. We had to take a generator for the lights and everything. So that was a crazy long day, and it was chucking it down with rain as well. So that was a long.
Was that near Stoves Hall, the student place?
Maybe, I'm not sure because I don't know that area, but it might have been. I'm not sure.
Because I went to Huddersfield Uni as a student, and I'm sure there was like abandoned building behind where the student unions were, and like surrounded by forest, surrounded by
Yeah, it could be.
So,
It might be. But yeah, we also then we've done a song called Digital God, Left Hand Path, and what was the other one we did at Corp? Marionette. We did a video for that, and we filmed all of those at Corp. Some of them have got like cut scenes like at elsewhere, like Digital God's got cut scenes at an abandoned asylum, which was creepy. And yeah, so yeah, we've done quite a few videos at Corp.
wow. Well, I'll have to check those out. I've only seen the Hellbound one. But yeah, I'll definitely check them out.
Yeah, they're fun.
Well, we're kind of running out of time on this one. So do you just want to, tell people where people can check out your music? Where can they buy merch, that sort of thing? Where's the best way to grab your music?
Sure. So, I mean, the best place is really shadowsmile.world. We've got everything there. We've got a store dates on there. You can find us on any social media at Shadow Smile Music on everything. And we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify. Just search Shadow Smile, you'll find us. Yeah, we try and be as interactive as we can there. So come and say hello, and we'll try not to bite.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. And I'm really
thank you.
I'm really
great
looking forward. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing you play live at Corp on the 16th of September. So if anybody else wants to go, just buy tickets on your website.
Yeah, we've got tickets on our website. There's tickets on the corporation website, which is corporation.org.uk, if I remember right from working there. But yeah, we've got tickets, still some tickets left. Yeah, come and have a good time with us. It'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited for it. Anyway, man, it's been amazing speaking to you, and I'll see you on the 16th.
Yeah, see you there, man.